Harvard President Claudine Gay has announced her resignation following weeks of intense scrutiny over her handling of anti-Semitism on campus and multiple allegations of plagiarism. Gay took the job more than 6 months ago, becoming the first Black president in school history. And she faced fierce backlash after that congressional hearing last month, where she refused to unequivocally say that calling for genocide of Jews constituted bullying and harassment on campus. Gay's resignation also comes on the heels of new plagiarism accusations, multiple ones against her. In a letter she wrote, "It has become clear that it is in the best interest of Harvard for me to resign so that our community can navigate this moment of extraordinary challenge with a focus on the institution rather than any individual. Amidst all of this, it has been distressing to have doubt cast on my commitments to confronting hate and upholding scholarly rigor, to bedrock values that are fundamental to who I am, and frightening to be subjected to personal attacks and threats fueled by racial animus." Joining us now, Charlie Covit, a Harvard freshman and a Jewish student leader at Harvard. Thank you and welcome back. Were you surprised at all by Gay's resignation?
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It did seem surprising after the corporation had said a couple weeks ago that she had their full support. But at some point, it seems like the dam essentially broke and the plagiarism accusations had piled up to the point where it was no longer tenable for her to stay on. I do think that what she said in her letter, that hopefully the focus will return to the institution rather than any individual. I think that she's correct about that, and I hope the focus will now go back to what really precipitated this whole crisis, which is really the epidemic of anti-Semitism and sort of obsessive hatred with Israel on our campus.
And on that note, what have you seen in recent weeks? I know you all have been on break for the holidays, but have you seen positive changes, progress in that area?
I mean, there had been some positive steps. I mean, President Gay was the only Lee University president to condemn calls of from the river to the sea. But, you know, I think that this has been a tough battle to fight because we have a lot of people on our campus sort of hiding behind this idea that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. But when you look at actually the tropes that they're using, right, I mean, it's a lot of the classic anti-Semitic tropes that you actually saw in Europe. Things like, you know, you have blood libels, right? I mean, the post on Instagram accusing Israel of harvesting Palestinian organs, of bombing the Baptist hospital a couple months ago, even when it emerged that it was actually a failed rocket launch. And also, you know, in Europe, Jews were branded, right, as these Middle Eastern Orientalist outsiders. And today on Harvard's campus, we're called white supremacists, racist, settler colonialists, people that don't belong in Israel. So I do think it's a little bit frightening to see those same tropes, and also to see it very hard to sort of fight back against them when we have a lot of tokenizing of the very small minority of Jews that call themselves anti-Zionists.
What would you like, Charlie, to see in a new president to lead Harvard through this challenging time?
I mean, I think one thing they could do is adopt the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, which includes anti-Zionism. And I think it's important to say that the goal is not to stifle criticism of Israel. I mean, I think that, as people have said, you know, free and open discussion is one of the bedrocks of a university. But when you sort of have this obsessive focus on Israel, people saying that they object to the existence of only the Jewish state and no other country, to me, whether or not that person actually has any issue with Jews themselves, if you're calling for something that's going to mean the displacement of basically half of the world's Jewish population, I mean, that's functionally anti-Semitic. So I hope that the new university president will really make clear that a hatred of Israel, a hatred of Zionism, that does count as anti-Semitism as well.
And the hatred that you talk about, the anti-Semitism that you've seen, is that coming from other students or is it outsiders coming to Harvard? What have you experienced?
I mean, I think that's what's a little bit frightening as well, is that it comes both from students, also from, you know, teaching fellows, and I'm sure from outside figures as well. I mean, you know, my friend has essentially a resident advisor, an RA, who wrote on his Instagram that the Zionist beast must be slain. And, you know, this friend is a visible Jew. So, you know, to have people like that who are kind of supposed to be the figures that we look up to, who are kind of so vehemently obsessed with Israel, I do think that that's pretty frightening. I mean, my own proctor wrote on Instagram that he was in no place to offer a moral litmus test on on Hamas. And, I mean, the New York Times just published an article the other day accusing Hamas of widespread sexual violence. So, when people kind of are saying, well, let's kind of two sides this when it comes to Hamas and, vicious attacks on Jewish people, it is definitely pretty frightening.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.